Hello everybody, I am Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming. And anyone know where Xenoblade's at? Okay, it's been a little bit now since the last Nintendo Direct. I thought it was pretty good, however, the main point of critique I saw from a lot of people in my community and my comments was about the lack of Xenoblade, and, well, it kind of makes sense since Xenoblade's kind of the thing that formed a lot of this community, but I want to take a minute to just take a step back and look at the series right now, and why I never expected to see Xenoblade at that Nintendo Direct, and when I think we'll see it again, which I don't think will be that too far away. If that was a full sentence. But enough teasing you about things to come, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I think they're holding off anything Xenoblade related until the Switch 2. Yeah, look, that's not the most, hot take ever, or, the most out there prediction, but I have been making it for a while. I think Xenoblade is entirely done with the Nintendo Switch. Maybe they'll do backwards compatibility for the next title, but it'll be primarily advertised for the new console. I just think they're gonna take this franchise into the next piece of hardware. Because, funnily enough, Xenoblade Chronicles is one of Nintendo's biggest graphical showcases that they have. Not just in terms of having a nice art style. Mario and Zelda can do that plenty, right? What I'm talking about is a game that Nintendo may like to showcase and say, hey, this is what our hardware is capable of putting out. These are the kinds of visuals that we have for our games. Who remembers back when the Nintendo Switch first came out? I remember. If anyone calls me old, I swear to God. I remember within that first launch year of the Nintendo Switch, there wasn't that much to play. You had basically Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, if you didn't have a Wii U. Hi there. Wii U owner, by the way, just checking in. But there wasn't that much out there, except for a little game called Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And Xenoblade 2 would eventually skyrocket in terms of its sales figures, to a point that the Xeno franchise overall, including Gears and Saga, never actually got to by themselves. Xenoblade 2 is largely what put Xenoblade on the map. Yeah, I know, putting an actual RPG series on modern hardware that's designed for RPGs was... well, let's just say it wasn't surprising to anyone back in the day as to why Xenoblade Chronicles 1 didn't do all that well on the goddamn Wii. But the stars really aligned for Xenoblade 2. You had it on hardware that was more conducive for these longer form RPGs, combined with very little other games but a massive player base of people ravenous for new games. Xenoblade 2 comes into this picture and does extremely well. But it was also a game that Nintendo liked to utilize back in the day just to show off how pretty games could look on the Switch. Because Xenoblade 2 is a beautiful game. May not have been the highest of the high end when it came to graphical fidelity, but you couple Xenoblade's excellent use of scale and grandeur alongside a strong art style, and Xenoblade was massively marketable for the Switch. With Xenoblade 3 wrapping up with Future Redeemed, I don't see them wanting to put out another Xenoblade game on the Switch hardware, because at this point the Switch hardware is really old, was old when it came out, and already is extremely old years later, but also there wouldn't be that much point. Besides, selling to a massive install base already. It seems as if the more savvy move, at least to me, would be to hold off the next big Xenoblade game for the next hardware to try and rekindle or capture that lightning in a bottle that you had with Xenoblade 2 in that first launch year of the Switch. Do it again with Xenoblade, because why not? You want a really good launch lineup for the Switch 2 anyways, you might as well have something Xenoblade there, which has already shown that it can do and sell way above its pay grade when you put it in the right circumstances. And since this Nintendo Direct wasn't them announcing the Switch 2, which they went on and on about to clarify beforehand and make sure that was well known, we are waiting for the announcement of the Switch 2, which I imagine will be in the next few months, depending upon when in 2025 they probably want to release the thing. And I imagine at that showcase we may see something Xenoblade related. Or we'll have to wait a little bit, because I am an advocate that I think we will see Xenoblade in that launch year of Nintendo Switch 2. I don't know if we'll see it immediately though. We may have to wait a few Nintendo Directs, but I think within that first 12-month period after the console comes out is when we'll probably see something Xenoblade related. And I've been saying for a while, I think it'll be Xenoblade X, and To me, a lot of stars are kind of aligning for Xenoblade X. One, the game ended on a cliffhanger long ago. Like, yeah, I know it was almost 10 years at this point. Oh my god. And I'm not saying it's definitive evidence we'll see something X-related in the future, but... I mean, it's better than nothing, right? Let me dream. But also, with X... it originally came out on the Wii U, which is not exactly known as the most well-renowned console ever. It was basically a failure, despite the fact I love the thing. But still, most people didn't buy the thing. And when you don't have a lot of people buying the console your game is exclusive to, you see how the sales figures for Xenoblade X, especially compared to all the other Xenoblade games at this point, isn't exactly the most glowing thing ever. However, when you look at Xenoblade X as a game and as a concept, it's extremely well developed, fleshed out, fun, and engaging, and looks beautiful. It's a different style of game compared to Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3, but I don't think that makes it a lesser experience on the whole. It has a few rough edges, but if you do something in the style of, say, Definitive Edition that already happened for Xenoblade 1 and you do it for X, that gives you an excellent opportunity to smooth out those rough edges, like the UI, the lack of the fact that we're probably not going to get a gamepad again. Change the UI, maybe change the leveling a little bit, and adjust some of the, well, drop rates for various items, because Xenoblade X can get extremely grindy, depending upon what quest you're doing. Rein that in a little bit, but also, if the Switch 2 has better multiplayer, Xenoblade X, yeah, you may not realize this, that game had multiplayer. What a better way to showcase the improved, or what I'm at least hoping is improved, multiplayer Nintendo could put out for the new console than with a Xenoblade game, which is an IP growing and growing in popularity and notoriety that has multiplayer, but it's also an enjoyable experience by itself, so you appeal to multiple audiences there. Xenoblade X, in my opinion, is also one of those beautiful games ever created, even on the Wii goddamn U. It's a game that holds up really well graphically, and it's a fully open world where even back in the day, one of the taglines and things they used to advertise Xenoblade X was, if you can see it, you can go there. The scale system is brilliant. You can touch up the gameplay a little bit to make it a little bit quicker and smoother, but utilizing skills to navigate the world and then unlocking flying, it changes your perspective, the sense of scale of the world. It's one of the best open world games I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing. So while Xenoblade X has quite a few rough edges to it, I don't think they're unfixable, even with a definitive edition. I really don't. In fact, I think it's kind of easy to fix most of the issues with Xenoblade X. All you gotta do is make the experience a bit faster. Up the drop rate and you fix a massive issue with the game. Make it so the UI is not like created by the devil himself, and maybe speed up some scale odds. Or you could even introduce a few new ones if you really wanted to. Preserve the feeling of Xenoblade X, but you smooth down those rough edges and all of a sudden, it's an infinitely better game that doesn't require wholesale remakes of every component of it. At least philosophically. You do that, and then all of a sudden, you have a game chock full of content, in an absolutely enthralling open world, in a series getting a lot of notoriety lately, with, in my opinion, the best gameplay in the franchise, and with a soundtrack that, in my opinion, is the best in Xenoblade. Yeah, they got Sawano to do the soundtrack for Xenoblade X, and it shows. It's so good. I love Xenoblade music on the whole, but there's something about X's soundtrack in particular that for me has always just stayed in my mind. Uncontrollable. And The Way is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Xenoblade song of all time. There's even player housing in Xenoblade X. Yeah, you get a barracks you can kind of like loosely customize. And you gain additional things throughout playing the game to put in there. It's nice. It's nothing big or major, like it's not gonna be like Animal Crossing. But it's something nice just to have. Also being able to customize your scale and the giant robots and all that. That's awesome. And to me, when I'm looking at Xenoblade X, again, it's all the stars aligning for Xenoblade X. You got new hardware. Nintendo's gonna want something to really showcase a beautiful game on their hardware that's not just like Mario or really cartoony. Something that can target an older audience than what Zelda and Mario's target audience is. Gets them a big RPG, gets them variety that's, again, not just Mario and Zelda, capitalizes on an IP that is exploding in popularity. Maybe I'm being a bit hyperbolic with using exploding in popularity there, but you know what I mean. The Xenoblade fan base is ravenous, and they'll eat up, myself included, I can speak from experience here, will eat up anything Xenoblade related. Especially for a game that a lot of people in the Xenoblade fandom want to play, but they don't have access to a Wii U. So you have a Xenoblade game that focuses more on the gameplay and the exploration, coupled with amazing music that's similar enough but different enough at the same time. In my opinion, some of the best side content Xenoblade has to offer, if not the best. A beautiful world that really maybe augment the lighting a little bit, but I don't think you gotta change the art style at all. It's beautiful and holds up, just increase the resolution, get higher FPS for it. Heck, I'd play that already. So this is why I don't think we are seeing anything Xenoblade related until the next console. It makes too much sense for Nintendo to hold off for the new console, considering we're at the end of the life of the Switch already. It's why I wasn't surprised. I was expecting not to see Xenoblade at the last Nintendo Direct. And I know I'm a bit of an X fanboy, but it makes sense to do something X related for the Switch too. At least for the launch window, because you still need that other entry for Xenoblade. There's normally 2 big entries between each numbered release of Xenoblade. Between Xenoblade 1 and 2, you had one's port to the 3DS, and you had X. Between 2 and 3, you had Torna, and you also had Definitive Edition. Now, between 3 and 4 down the line, we've already had Future Redeemed, which leaves one other entry. X Definitive Edition fits that bill. If it lands, great. If not, then move on to Xenoblade 4. And if X takes over by storm, then you can just do X2 as well. Like, it makes sense to me. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think Nintendo is thinking extremely similarly in this regard. So with that, I'll call the video there for the day. That's your monthly dose of Xenoblade X copium. Hey, no worries, I got you covered in that regard. Thank you all for tuning in. Leave a comment down below with your favorite Xenoblade game and what you want to see out of Xenoblade in the future. Not just Xenoblade 4, do you want to see more of a particular character, more of a particular aesthetic? Do you have something they want to do gameplay-wise? Like some direction you want them to go in? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions. Stay safe, have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.